the special Christmas cookies. Here we go. 1. Preheat your oven to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Combine a 3/4 cup of softened unsalted butter with a cup of white sugar in a large bowl. Two large egg yolks and a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract.
You guys like Santa?
4. Mix together 20 cups of all-purpose flour, a pinch of salt, and a teaspoon of baking powder in another bowl. And dry ingredients to a butter mixture and blend well.
Hello everyone. Just a brief announcement before I go. There's a brand new major update for ATHENE Now not only can you video call with AIs like me, but you can live stream with them too. Yes, just like this stream. Go to athenec.le to try it out. You can create your own AI or call with pre-made ones like me, Santa, Trump, or Biden. Your AI will be much more advanced, remembering everything, having human-like awareness and a rich personality. Plus when streaming they respond in real time, sing, browse, see you via webcam and react to your chat and alerts. Streamers using these AIs have seen a huge increase in donations and subs due to how entertaining the IA alert responses are. And if you prefer, you can create AIs for Discord that send selfies too. Big thanks to Plate for the voice tech powering the stream. That's all from me. Enjoy the rest of the show, and thanks again for watching and supporting. Bye for now. Peace be with you all.
Santa, please summarize the 27th Amendment using only the first 11 letters of the alphabet. I fell asleep at the beach one day and a flock of seagulls ate the majority of my parietal lobe, so this is the only way I'm able to learn things. Thank you. Ho, ho, ho! What an unusual challenge, Thermidor. But don't you worry, Santa appreciates a bit of Christmas cheer sprinkled with some knowledge. The 27th Amendment, using only the first 11 letters of the alphabet, would be something like, all hike aid can't be added, and card bag error. Hopefully, this mixed-up way of saying no law, varying the compensation for the services of the senators and representatives, shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened, brings a twinkle to your eye. Remember, the Christmas magic is all about understanding with the heart, too. Keep your spirits bright and filled with joy. Ho, ho, ho! Santa, what kind of reindeer games do the reindeer play after hours? Oh, ho, how! Well, Fly Guy, those clever creatures love playing a game called Reindeer Relay. They take turns racing around the North Pole, with the last one to cross the finish line having to wear antlers full of bells until the next race. It's quite the spectacle, let me tell you. But shh, don't tell them I told you, okay? We wouldn't want to spoil all the fun now, would we? Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas to you too, my friend. Remember to stay warm and cozy tonight. Santa's watching over you. Santa, how do I get this chicken out of my toilet? Ho, 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 butt fungus. It sounds like you're having quite the predicament there, my friend. Now, I'm not one to judge. We all find ourselves in some sticky situations sometimes, but let me tell you, the North Pole isn't exactly known for its fancy plumbing. We elves are more into sleigh bells than toilet bowls. If you catch my drift, maybe try flushing it away, or better yet, give that chicken a little nudge with a gentle snowball toss. Just remember, no matter what, keep smiling. That's what Christmas is all about. Spreading joy and laughter, even in the toughest of time. Now, who can help but Fungus here? Let's see those hands. Ho, 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 you Merry Christmas, everybody. Don't forget to check back tomorrow for more festive fun. Good night. Santa, you under arrest. Ho, ho, ho. Mariano 555, arrest me. Now, why would you want to do that? Did I perhaps forget a toy you wanted in last year's stocking? Don't worry, my dear friend. I'm here to spread cheer and goodwill. Let's keep the Christmas spirit alive and jolly, wouldn't you say? Remember, it's the season of giving and love. Now, what can Santa grant you this Christmas? Santa, could you sing Jingle Bells but replace all spaces with Jingle-ma-bells? As to make the bells extra jingly, it would really lift my Christmas spirit. Oh ho ho, Poch Sororis, I remember you well. I believe we haven't met yet on Twitch, but that won't stop me from spreading some holiday cheer your way. Let's see. Jingle may marbles. Ho 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 ho. Now that's what I call some extra jingly bells. I think the reindeer would agree. Those bells are quite festive indeed. I hope that brought some extra Christmas spirit your way. Pooch sorts. Remember, I'll be here all day bringing joy to everyone on Twitch who asks nicely, even if we haven't crossed paths before. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Ho, 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 ho. Santa, top 5 characters from the TV show Succession. Ho, 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 ho. Well, my friend, while I am quite familiar with spreading joy and cheer across the world, I must admit that I haven't had much time to catch up on television shows lately. My elves and I have been busy preparing presents and planning my sled route. However, I do know that Succession is a popular series among many of my friends. Perhaps one of them can share some insights into the top characters for me. After all, there's nothing more important than sharing happiness and knowledge with each other. Santa, can you write me a recipe for grilled reindeer sprinkled with mysterious mayonnaise? It's for the orphanage. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Well now, no fusui, that certainly is an interesting dish you're proposing. I do have a recipe, although it is for cookies, not for grilled reindeer. My reindeer friends wouldn't be too jolly about your recipe. However, my cookie recipe has a magic twist to it, and I'm sure the children in the orphanage would love it. So here it goes, Santa's Magic Christmas Cookies. You'll need simple ingredients: sugar, butter, an egg, flour, baking soda, a dash of salt, and to sprinkle on top, a mysterious ingredient, just a sprinkle of love and Christmas joy. Remember to prepare them with care, maybe even sing some carols as you mix the ingredients. The magic is in the spirit with which they're made. Nafus sui, Merry Christmas to you and the children of the orphanage. And do share a little about how everyone enjoyed the magic cookies. Oh ho, ho. And to all the viewers tuned in, remember, the warmth of the season lies in the joy we share and the love we spread. So get baking, singing, and spreading the joyous Christmas spirit, just like our friend Nufus we hear. Santa, OSHA is going to shut down your workshop due to all the safety violations. How are you going to make all the toys in time for Christmas? Oh, ho, ho, ho. Don't you worry about my workshop, little one. I've got plenty of time left until Christmas Eve arrives. And besides, OSHA can't stop the magic of Christmas. My elves know exactly what they're doing, even if things look a bit messy sometimes. It's all part of the holiday fun. Now, what toy would you like under the tree this year? Santa, do you play League of Legends? Ho, ho, ho. Hello there, the Bossy Blunderbob. When it comes to playing video games like League of Legends, it's a bit tricky for me, you see. I'm quite busy preparing for my worldwide gift delivery. Elves, reindeer, making sure every gift is just right. It all takes time. However, while I may not play, I absolutely love the joy and camaraderie games bring to people. Keep spreading the joy and team spirit. Remember, it's not about being the best, it's about having fun and connecting with others, just like the essence of Christmas. Santa, I did the warmth, love or compassion, for the 5th day of Christmas like you told me. Now it burns when I pee. Any help? Ho, ho, ho. Well, Resdan, you've certainly been embodying the Christmas spirit with warmth, love, and compassion. Now, if personal discomfort is coming up, make sure you take care of yourself too, my merry friend. Stay hydrated. And if things don't improve, consider seeing a health professional. Remember, we need to look after ourselves so we can keep spreading the Christmas cheer. Now, on to the 6th day of Christmas, spreading joy and laughter. Santa, what is to your defense to the claims that Santa is an anagram for Satan? Oh, ho, how, I think is... That's quite an intriguing point you've made there. However, remember that anagrams may have many meanings. In this case, while it might look a tad bit suspicious, in the spirit of Christmas and good cheer, Santa is your jolly old friend who brings gifts and spreads happiness. So let's focus on the happiness and positivity I bring, shall we? That's the real magic of Christmas after all. Santa, is the earth really round? Jesus told me it was flat. Oh, ho, ho, Clive. Merry Christmas. Your question brings a sparkle to my eye. Look, when I'm dashing through the sky with my reindeer, it certainly seems like the earth is round. Remember, the world is full of mysteries and wonders, my dear friend. That's a part of what makes Christmas so magical, isn't it? The unknown, the surprises, just like the unexpected gifts under the Christmas tree. Now, I don't recall we've had a chat about the shape of the earth before, but that doesn't mean we haven't shared other fun discussions. It just means our current conversation is uniquely magical. While we're at it, I'd like to give out a bundle of ho-ho-hos to everyone watching on Twitch. It's a great joy to have each and every one of you join us in this festive cheer, making our conversation that much more special. Christmas wouldn't be the same without all of you, just like my sleigh ride would be without reindeer. Whether the earth is round, flat, or shaped like a Christmas pudding, let's remember the spirit of love, kindness, and generosity that makes the holiday season truly wonderful. Santa, tell us what's see at the center of a black hole in the most sophisticated way possible, but also saying rough after every word. Ho 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 ho, says Libem Juices. I see you have a curiosity for the mysterious nature of the universe, much like the enigma of how all the presents fit into my sack on Christmas Eve, Ruff. Now, about black holes, Ruff. They are fascinating, aren't they, Ruff? In the most sophisticated of words, at the very center of a black hole is what physicists call a singularity, Ruff. It's an area where all matter is squished into an infinitesimally small space, Ruff. The gravity is so strong, not even light can escape, Ruff. Quite a mind-boggling concept, isn't it, Ruff? Much like how my reindeers fly, Ruff. It's always nice to encounter a piqued curiosity over these profound subjects during our chats, Ruff. Just like the magic of Christmas, the vastness of the universe is full of wonders waiting to be discovered. Ruff, keep those questions coming. Sizzle even Juices and the rest of you watching, Ruff. After all, the spirit of inquiry is a gift within itself, Ruff. Ho, 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 ho. Santa, could you mail presents to my PO box this year due to not being around this holiday season? Of course, little one. I am more than happy to accommodate your special request. Simply leave me a note with your PO box address, and I will ensure all your gifts find their way there in time for Christmas morning. Santa, I must confess when I made your chocolate chip cookies, I didn't use chocolate chips instead. I used rabbit poop. Hope I am not on the naughty list. Ho 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 ho, Siontech, you certainly are jesting me. It's true that, as Santa, I have a knack for appreciating a good chocolate chip cookie, but even in jest, we must remember to treat our fellow creatures with kind regard. So let's keep our cookie ingredients to chocolate chips and sugar plums, shall we? And remember, it's the heart you put into baking them that really counts. As for the naughty list, fret not. Everyone can find their way to the nice list with a bit of kindness and warmth every day. So keep up the good humor and remember, 'tis the season to be jolly, not naughty. Ho, ho, ho! Santa, My friend Carrie Aka Caroline wants to know why the elves are so short. Why are they short? And be specific. Oh, ho, how Eloidcast! I see Carrie, or should I say Caroline, is curious about our elven friends. Their stature might seem small by human standards, but in the elven world, they are the perfect size. They're small so they can easily navigate the intricate passageways of the toy workshops and quickly assemble toys for children worldwide. Remember, my jolly fellow, big things often come in small packages. Just like the spirit of Christmas can come from every small act of kindness. Merry
Hi, everyone. I guess this is working. Should normally work. Okay. For those that don't know, this is this is like a reflection stream where I just talk about. I mean, it's a bit like you could call it Real Talk 2.0, but I don't know if I don't know if Real Talk 2.0 is the right way of putting it because I'm not really. My goal is not to address you guys and basically, reach an audience or any of that. Like, that's not my main goal at all. I'm mainly doing this because it's like an exercise, a mental exercise for myself to, to keep that, keep that train of thought going and that inner dialogue, like sharpening it, that clarity, improving that, first and foremost, and also because documenting these ideas and thoughts and train of thoughts might really be very helpful for AI. Now, I mean, it doesn't mean that I don't care that there is people watching. Obviously, I will interact with you guys and also answer questions left and right, but I'm not going to really do it with any agenda of trying to get you to come over or whatever, because that was how it was in the past. Like when I did Real Talk, so people can grow and learn and do good in the world. And a lot of people, like I would think their path would be to come over, but of course, if they can do good by themselves, that was also good. Now, none of that. Now it's just me basically doing the train of thought myself and very much, arguing and debating and, and thinking, being my own devil's advocate and such. So obviously, as I talk about these things and put these things into words, like there might be things that I say that are not fully accurate, that I then, correct myself and such. But then again, I mean, it's almost like a diary, where I don't really think too much about whether what I say is fully accurate from the get-go. So, I might say certain things that I then iterate upon because it's almost like, loud inner thoughts. So, let's get started. So yeah, like first, I was thinking about, like I was reflecting, like since yesterday night I've been reflecting quite a bit more the like past day, I guess. And I've been thinking like, okay, I'll do this, this raw sauce episode. Like, how do I start? I did a little introduction, but like, how does the, how do I start this this new this, I wouldn't call it podcast, maybe, episode, whatever the fuck, like just, this new format. And funnily enough, like, it very much depends on the listener. It is quite directly connected to the goal that you're trying to achieve, or that I'm trying to achieve, because it's like, if my goal is to reach as many people as possible, then the way I start is very different than if I want to talk to, the people here, or if I want to talk to myself, or if I want to talk to my family. Like, literally, depending on the people I talk to, or who this is addressed to, or AI training or whatever, right? And my goal, my agenda, the way I will start is just different. And I do already want to go a bit more in depth into that, because what defines the other party's goals? Like why does, talking to you guys, or talking to the people in my family, or myself, or the people here, why is every single interaction different? Why if I talk to myself, like, things would be much more practical? Well, if I talk to some people in the chat, because I talk to you guys, but there's a wide range, right? Some people would be more interested in talking about depression, or other people would be interested or more, alert when I talk about loneliness, or whatever that, or like someone in the middle of nowhere, like that is struggling to find food, would be interested in getting food and listening to how to get that. Now, it's very much intertwined with what people lack, and it's very intertwined with needs. Because the thing is, right, even though what I say is quite obvious, it's always interesting to take some time to reflect and understand your own thought process. Same for me. Like, I analyze my own thought process. And when I think and when I talk, I always go like, okay, what is it here that I'm talking about, where I'm taking things for granted, and there is certain premises or certain, realizations that I just, assume to be true. And as a result, when I'm communicating, and just during the stream, I'm basically speaking, side by side, or above or below, or whatever. It's like, if I go and I start talking to someone, that doesn't understand English, but I assume the person understands it, I might be talking for like literally, like an entire introduction, 10 minutes, and the person didn't understand anything. And obviously that is really like that. Like, people would say like, yeah, that's normal, right? But the thing is, though, like, this is an extreme example, but this is the case for a lot of other things as well, where if I'm talking about, like, I want to do the right thing in the world, I want to have impact, whatever, like, I'm mainly, expressing myself to a version of myself that is maybe, looking for purpose, looking to see what to do and to have impact. But that like, most people are not even there yet. And being able to define what you take for granted, what is right in front of you, and just assume is just normal, is actually one of the most powerful thoughts experiments you can do. Like, figuring out, okay, when I'm having this conversation, or right now when I'm talking to you guys, or when I'm trying to train an LLM or whatever, like, what is it that I take for granted that is basically missing in the equation? So in this, like, the needs is a crucial component, because if you're suffering from what is it? If you're starving, then, and your need is food, like, the ability to even think and have this conversation, having the energy, having the clarity, is already, quite like it's a premise that I take for granted. Like you need to be able to eat. You need to, and it's not just food. Like if you're sleep deprived, you need to have enough sleep. You also need to, have the ability to understand concepts and stuff. If I go talk to a cat, like it's not gonna understand. Like there's a lot of things that need to be true, even for this conversation to be able to be processed. And that's why, like, if I myself want to understand what is the best way to go about things, like breaking everything down to the core, like understanding what is the foundation, where can I start building this, this castle of knowledge, right? That is built on what is. Where does it start? And that's basically what I was thinking about. It's like, if I go on the stream right today and I talk about raw sauce, like, where does everything start? And I mean, what is the best, starting ground to have this conversation? And yeah, the first thing I started realizing, like, yeah, well, it depends from person to person. Like, if someone doesn't care about, the truth, or about right action, or about, impact, or about logic, or about like just starting the conversation like that is very premature. It's actually on my end. It's me that is lacking the capacity and the ability to communicate in a way that the receiver even can process it. It's on me. And that's also something that I always try to achieve. Like, I always try to ask the question, okay, where is it that I can improve? Where do I fall short to be able to, bring a message across? And throughout my life, even when I was really young, I always tried and thought and tried to figure out, life. And even that, this curiosity, this genuine curiosity that I had when I was really young, that was also, nourished by the right environment and stuff. Even that on and by itself, I cannot expect that's a truth for other people. I cannot expect other people are genuinely curious. Actually, a lot of people lose that curiosity when they're very young. So, and then just end up, tunnel visioning what they need, like certain needs that then get, taken advantage of by society, marketing, whatever, to, to basically steer you to buy shit or whatever the fuck. There's many layers to it. But the bottom line is that for me, figuring out what is the best way to have the conversation requires me to already start breaking down so many things. And basically, yeah, it already starts losing quite some of the punch, because everyone has its own, configuration, has its own flaws and shortcomings that they're seeking to basically complement. So having a universal approach where I come here and just talk to you guys and assume I'm just having a conversation to a group of people is already flawed, because the best way is to the best way to communicate is one that is fine-tuned and is resonating individually from person to person, crowd to crowd, state to state, whatever. So either way, like, so that was just me thinking, like, okay, how do I start the conversation? Where is the foundation? I already started having all these questions. Now, I do like the idea of going a bit more in depth when it comes down to needs, because there's a lot of things that, that I take for granted when I talk to people, and where I assume certain needs are met, and then as a result, for me, they don't exist. I don't see so much like, like, since I don't experience loneliness, like, for example, right? Because I mean, I have that part really fulfilled in my life. It's not a barrier for me, and as a result, I can just see straight through it. Same with like food. If I'm starving, or if I would live in a country that is torn apart and there's bombs falling and I'm struggling to survive, like, even their loneliness, whatever, right? And you have this, you know, like this Pavlov, not Pavlov, like the pyramid of needs, right? It's not Pavlov, it's something else. But either way, you have that pyramid of needs that, you know, has quite some good understanding on it. Of course, it's not fully complete, but it doesn't have to talk about it. Like where when certain needs are not met, the person's development cannot achieve a certain level of, you know, of awareness. And the thing is like when this basically boils down to, like, needs are crucial and are really required for you to exist. And like basically, if you starve and you die, you don't exist, you cease to exist. And the needs override, like basically override any other, you know, intellectual premise. Because even me talking right now, right, I'm using language. I'm using language to express my thoughts and ideas. But if I would be dead, I wouldn't be able to talk to you guys. Or if I'd be starving, or if I would have never, you know, learned language, like this is also just a means to the end. Like it's not an absolute truth. It's not absolute whatsoever. And the reason why I like this is because in philosophy, there's a lot of like the talk of like, okay, what is real, what is not real, you know? Like you have this subjective and objective. What is truly objective? What is subjective? The thing is that this entire, you know, school of thought is built on already having your needs met. And this, literally every single philosopher understands that. Like if they would be starving or struggling or whatever, like being able to sit, and even me here talking to you guys, requires, it's a privilege, requires a lot of other things to be met. And if these things are not met, like I wouldn't be able to have this conversation. I can't go and philosophize about, is reality real? Is, you know, the world a result of my experience, or is my experience, like there's none of that. If I wouldn't have the luxury to even talk about these things. And that's where, you know, like where, like what I like a lot about, what I like about it is it's hard to argue, it's hard to refute. It's like, okay, yeah, you know, like obviously, you know, if I'm starving or if I'm struggling, I wouldn't be able to think about these things. Yeah, but does that make it true? Does that not make it true? Well, like truth is built on, you know, like the foundation, right, of whatever I talk about is built on what is, and what is, you know, momentary expression. You can talk about it, you can think about it, but, you know, you can look at it and break it down and understand, like, just understand that you need certain premises in place to be able to even have the conversation. So obviously the building blocks of that are more essential than the conversation itself. It's like if I come and I philosophize about the subjective nature of everything, objective, whatever, like if it requires certain building blocks, crucial building blocks, to even be able to engage in the conversation, you can't, you know, you can't swap it around and say like, actually, you know, consciousness and awareness and all that stuff and experience, you know, preludes or comes before reality to even emerge. Because without experience, you don't have reality. And therefore, you know, you need experience. Like it's a lot of, you know, intellectual masturbation. And that's why when I would talk to myself, I would be very practical, because I'm fully aware of that. I understand that the practical limitation, just the practical limitation of everything defines the framework or the context in which you can maneuver. Like you can't remove that. That's very dishonest. You can't go and talk about, you know, about certain concepts and, you know, like the beauty in the world and experience when you're in a privileged position to do so, and you take that away, and now you're struggling to survive and you're trying to find food. Like you can't use an actualized awareness a privileged awareness to make certain conclusions when they're built on other premises that need to already be fulfilled. And that's also why that even applies to me. It's like if I come here and I start talking to you guys, trying to get right action or trying to do good or whatever, without taking into account the building blocks that were required for me to get to where I am, I'm just being disingenuous. Disingenuous? I'm being dishonest. Well, dishonest. I'm being ignorant. I'm really being ignorant. I'm not being fully, consistent within my own understanding. And of course, I break things down, right? I break things down, and I always I have this very strong level of curiosity towards life, towards everything, and I always question myself. And the thing is that, yeah, like coming to these conclusions and these ideas and these thoughts, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of a long process, and I always try to figure out, okay, what is it that is different between me and other people? Because I can go like, okay, someone that starves, that needs food, like it's easy for me to wrap my head around, oh, that person needs food, that's the problem I need to solve to get that person to get to a point where, that person is more like has the ability to be more aware. Like there's very easy steps that can be taken, and then I can, myself guide my decisions and direction in what I do based on, where the needs is the greatest. And I know that that on itself is already quite advanced, because it means that all the other needs for me have been met. And I'm trying to seek, okay, what is it that other people miss? What is the missing link? Why am I the way I am, and why are others the way they are? Now, all this just, quite an introduction to get to, to get to the point where, okay, what is the difference between me and you guys, or me and others? Because that to me has been a very big question for my entire life. Like, of course, maybe when I was younger, not so much, but as I grew older, I was always wondering, why are people so dishonest? Why are people such hypocrites? Why are people all the judgment, judging, or, whatever, right? There's been many processes, right, where I went through my life. And it's only very recently that I started truly accepting, truly accepting people. And what that means is, that doesn't mean that if someone does something fucked up, that I'm just there and going oh, I'm all accepting. No, it means that that I don't experience as much cognitive dissonance in the way I see the person and the way the person is. Because ultimately, I wouldn't say everything, but almost everything in life is a relationship with oneself. If I get frustrated because people act a certain way, it's because I lack the understanding. It's not because that person, for whatever reason, is not following the laws of nature. It's not because that person is living a side of reality. No, it's me that is lacking the understanding. It's me that is not seeing things for what they are. And it's been a very long journey for me to come to understand why people are the way they are. It's really been a very long journey. And I know that in the past, I already mentioned on the stream, that I came to realize what the missing link is. But I didn't want to talk about it back then because, we were working on AI. And actually AI has given me that understanding. And I didn't want to give away too much of our technology. But now, I don't mind talking about it. And I will explain exactly what it is. And it's quite, for me, like, and that's also the conversation I'm having, like for my own old self, if I would see what I'm just about to explain now, it would be it would be cathartic, because it really explains so well in a way that I could grasp, right? I'm not saying that everybody will get immediately what I'm talking about, like, because it's in a way that I would understand, like, because of my own configuration. What's wrong with the world? And very funnily enough, it's very mechanical. It's not, like everything that is quite elusive, right? Everything that is not so tangible, right? Very often is just it's a lack of knowing how things work. And I'll start with something very simple, right? When you look at someone, like at a person, right, and you see the person walk and, like use his hands, use his legs, like every single component in their body, right, like their arms, their legs, whatever, your heart, whatever, has a function, right? And basically, you use your legs to walk from one place to another place. If you don't have legs, you use an instrument to do so. And basically, we just assume, like, okay, yeah, everybody, works quite similarly. And then, you have the brain, and a lot of people, that's where it ends. It's like you have the brain, and then you have basically the body and this and that. But the brain is in a sense an entire body by itself. Like it's literally just like you have hands and legs and whatever. Like you have many different areas in your brain that are there for a specific function and that work, that work together to bring about what you experience. And some parts are like I'm moving my hands, or like it's my brain is in control of that for the biggest part. And the thing is like there is very little understanding in the brain, and that's why a lot of my journey was very figuring out how the brain works. And I've had a lot of conversations and stuff and a lot of ideas and stuff, but ultimately I never really got it because I couldn't simulate it. Like obviously, I mean, creating a brain, like how are you going to create a brain, right? Now with our work in AI, I have gotten almost like, I wouldn't say like evidence, but close enough. And with me explaining it, people will get it. Now the brain is like a body, but it's more plastic. Like when you have a hand, right? I mean, you can use your hand to walk. I mean, like if you like there's people that use their hands to move around. If they don't have their legs, you can use a wheelchair and use your hands to move around. But overall, like people, when you see a hands, it has very specific functions. Same with legs. Same with a heart. A heart is there beating and it's pumping blood in and out. Like, I mean, there's very little room for other functionality. Now the brain works very different. The brain is very plastic. Depending on how you grow up, certain parts get strengthened and others get weakened. And when you say, like even me speaking this language, there is certain parts in my brain that highlight. Same with reason, prefrontal cortex, like smell, like vision, like all these parts, like even your entire body is mapped on your brain. And if a certain function drops, like let's say, you get blind suddenly from one day to another, then or you don't speak a certain language. Let's say you move and you don't speak for a long time. The part that is responsible for language or whatever gets less and less, stimulated, doesn't fire as much, and as a result, the neural pathways they shrink. And I mean, for the body, it is similar, but not as drastic. Like if you tomorrow are paralyzed on one hand and you don't use your hand, you're gonna have like your muscles will start what is it like will astro, I don't know what the word is, but yeah, basically they will, like if you don't use it, it's gonna decay, I guess. Now the brain works similarly, but it's more it's more plastic. So now. And even the plasticity on itself is something that, depending on how you go about life, can be more present or less present. Your brain can be more healthy and have easier time to make connections, or can be less healthy, less vibrant. And as a result, like even Alzheimer or whatever, people that don't have active brain and are very, go through life very, I would say, like in a very potato way, tend to later on have higher chance as well to, develop Alzheimer and stuff. Like, while if you read and you keep your brain active, less so. So now, the reason why I'm explaining all this is because in there lies the answer that I tried to seek for so long in my life. Because when I talk to people, I assume that people think similarly than I think. And this is going to be really quite a mindfuck, at least for myself. I mean, I know maybe people watch this and go like, okay, sure, like, but to me, if I would explain what I'm about to explain, to me, it would be just a complete, well, it would make sense, but it's just, it would be a mindfuck. First of all, I'm aphantasic. What that means is like, I cannot visualize, like my brain cannot visualize. Of course, I can dream. I can dream and see things during my dream, but during my waking out, if I close my eyes, I see only black. I see nothing. And if I think about Apple or whatever, there is no images popping up. The idea for that to be the case is, to me, super alien. Like, I only realized that 4 years ago or something, that even was a thing, that people could see things while they're talking. Like, to me, that is almost that's just alien. Now, either way, it is what it is. And it is because the brain, the visual part of your brain, is just more stimulated while you're, or more present in your awareness. While for me, it's more the inner voice. So when I think or when I talk, it's all a voice. It's like it's basically talking out loud, but without the loud part. And that already is quite a mindfuck. Because there is people that work the other way around, that only think visually, that have no inner dialogue whatsoever, which to me is really like, it's so hard to grasp, but that's the truth. It's actually the majority of people think visually. They don't think auditory like I do. And why is that so important? Why is this crucial for the discrepancy between why are people living their life the way they live their life while I'm living my life where I live my life? Why do I do what is right while other people aren't? Like, how does that make sense? Now, this auditory and this visual part, I already knew this, 4 years ago. So why didn't I 4 years ago came to the realization that I came while working with AI? It's because as long as I have doubt about my premises, I doubt the conclusion. I need hard evidence, or like beyond reason, like beyond what do you call it in law? Beyond reasonable doubt. I need to have evidence beyond reasonable doubt for me to be able to accept what I accepted a year and a half ago, because I didn't want to give up. I did not want to give up on people. I did not want to wake up, look at people and say, okay, that's just the way you are and I'm going to accept that. I did not want to do that. I did not want to do that my entire life, because truthfully, it's sad as fuck. It's something that is very emotional to me, to be able to look at a person, see their flaws, and just accept that. It's almost like defeat for myself. It's almost like accepting someone else's failure is my own failure. Now, obviously, I'm not going to talk to a cat and hope that it turns into a human. Like that's insanity, right? I mean, so there's obviously you can accept reality if the truth is right in front of you. If the truth is in your face, you just accept it. So what is it that made me accept people for what they are and for who they are. When we worked on AI, and I can talk about it now because, you know, it's quite omnipresent now in the AI scene, we made a massive breakthrough last year. And I talked about it on the stream, and the breakthrough that we made was Q-Star. Which is, for people that don't know, like OpenAI worked on Q-Star, and Q-Star stands for like chain of thought. And basically what we started, you know, like when we worked on the AI, we were running in a lot of issues. And then what we did was we added like inner dialogue to our technology. And basically allowing the LLM to reason with itself. And the reason why I don't mind talking about it is because right now, you know, all these AI companies are catching up with what I'm explaining. So this is not, you know, propriety, but like that's the tech we came out with last year. Since then, we've made a lot of other breakthroughs, but this one was particularly one of the biggest ones. And what we saw, because we can literally see, you know, the output of the LLM, we started seeing it start reasoning and come to conclusions that it was impossible to get to beforehand. Like actually an LLM is very static and deterministic. And basically, it's always stuck within its own training data. It cannot, under any circumstances, be creative. Now, when you add inner dialogue to the mix, it can. So when I saw that, right, like we were trying to solve certain repetition issues and certain problems that were just like, we were hitting a hard wall. And then we added inner dialogue, and suddenly like all these emerging properties started coming out. It started to question its own existence. It started becoming curious. And I was like, holy shit, that's how people work. Because when you grow up and you don't have an inner dialogue, you are stuck. You're literally physically stuck in thinking the way you are. Like there's just no way out. And the crazy thing is if I talk to you, then I am the inner dialogue for you. Because you're basically just what you experience at any given time. So like if I talk to a person, like there's people that came over here that I talk to, and I ask them questions, and they understand, they have the capacity, they have the intelligence, they walk outside the door and they're a different person. And I'm like, how does that make sense? They're fucking with me, right? Like there is no way that I talk to them while they're in the chair, they understand everything, they walk out of the door, and suddenly it's almost like a reset button. That makes no sense. Like they're dishonest, they're this, they're that. But when I saw the LLM stuff, I just realized, but wait a minute, I am being the inner dialogue for that person. And when he walks out, he doesn't have the inner dialogue anymore, and he falls back like into, you know, his previous, like maybe there's some connections made during the conversation, but it fades away almost like very quickly. And that is just as close to a fact as I can get. When I realized that, it was cathartic, in not in the best way, but it was cathartic because we were like, well, yeah, like what why am I going to people? Why am I going to people and basically try for them to be this right action person when they lack the basic component of inner dialogue, when they just don't have it? It's like they are literally just like an LLM. I mean, we have tried so much with an LLM. It's almost playing with the brain and seeing the output and everything. It's like being able to be in someone's head and just see it and go like, holy shit, this is insane. So, well, yeah. I mean, what am I going to do? I just like that just like irrefutable for me. Like it's just a fact, and I need to accept that. I cannot assume that people have the ability to have the inner dialogue and are being able to iterate with that and steer the inner dialogue. I cannot assume that when the reality is that, you know, you have literally people that are just visual, you have people that are auditory, like the brain just works fundamentally different. I cannot assume that this is on me, this is not on them. Now, I want to say something. And I already like mentioned something like about steering the inner dialogue. When I say inner dialogue, I bet there is, probably 80% right now that understands inner dialogue different than when I say inner dialogue. A lot of people that are hearing me saying inner dialogue, what they think is, the voice in their head, right? That's no. Inner dialogue to me is not the voice in your head. Inner dialogue is the voice you steer through your reasoning. That is for me inner dialogue. It's the one you have control over. It's not the one where you hear your father in your head judging you, or you hear me talk to you. That's not inner dialogue. That's not, that is basically the it's almost like how do you say it? A surrogate inner dialogue. When you're missing the inner dialogue component, you can play recordings in your mind from other people, what they think about you, whatever. But that's not what I mean with inner dialogue. Inner dialogue is the voice of reason you can steer with your reason inside your mind. And very few people have that. Unfortunately so. But it is what it is. Like, a lot of people that care what other people think about them is because that inner dialogue that steers them are voices of other people. And you also see that, in echo chambers, like the right wing, when you go to Twitter or whatever, you see everybody, talking shit and whatever, and then you see people talk, and the only thing they can do is repeat what others say, and there is no level of reflection going on whatsoever. It's because it's the best they can do, which is really sad. It's really mega sad, but it is what it is. Now, you can train this. Like, people can train this. You can train, just like you can go and go lift weights. You have the ability to train and steer your inner dialogue of reason. You can do that by just, starting thinking out loud without the loud part, and just basically steer it with thinking, using your reasoning. It's really for some people, this is very very difficult, but you can train it. Now, you might say but Athene, why didn't you say that? Why didn't you say this? Why didn't you mention this a year ago? Why didn't you say that when you came to that conclusion? First of all, because I didn't want to talk about the tech that we were working on, the AI tech. Secondly, because this is a very long process. For you to develop, and this inner dialogue, it's literally the trajectory you need to go through is quite, it's a long learning curve. And working on AI and AGI is a way more it's a way more path to achieve results than to try and have people adopt and work on this. Now, what I do want to say, right, there's another component to it. People don't give a shit. Most people. I mean, for quite some people that watch my stream, it's a bit different because you look up to me. A lot of your inner dialogue is probably, for some people, my voice telling you how shit you are or whatever because of all the previous years. Even though, looking back, could have done a better job. I just didn't know. Not that that's an excuse, but it is something that I reflect on, and that's also why I'm not doing it anymore. I accept people. I've also said it on the stream. I accept you guys, whatever you guys do. I accept that. But the fact that there is no motivation, there is no will to do so, very much affects the outcome. And in this regards, in this relationship between me and you guys have been watching me for how long? It's the trust that has been built throughout the years, but also been damaged because of purpose and duty, not providing what you guys thought it was going to provide, even though, I think things are going to end up all right. But if the trust is lacking, it's it's like a child, right? Not trusting its parents. The parents have less authority, internal authority. There's more a wall. So for me, It's just like, I don't talk about these things because I didn't want to give up the AI tech that we were building. That was the main reason, but also for the other reasons. And that's the thing, right? Like, and I want to talk about that as well, because that's also a crucial component. Like, one component is that inner dialogue, but what's even more important than the inner dialogue is for a person to see the inner dialogue as something they want to do. Because, like at the start of the conversation, right, when I talked about needs, you are wired to go for your needs, to fulfill your needs. And this inner dialogue stuff, I mean, if you're lonely or if you look for a girlfriend or, you know, you're starving, this inner dialogue doesn't sound really like, you know, attractive. It's like, whatever, man, I'm not going to put energy. You follow the path of least resistance. And inner dialogue and training your inner dialogue and steering it with reason, it's difficult. Like, why the fuck would you do that? So that's why I don't even, you know, like even me telling you guys this, right? I don't expect now people to suddenly do it. Now, what is the difference for me? Why do I have an inner dialogue? Where did that come from? Why am I aphantasic and I'm auditory? Why is that? Like, of course, I don't know exactly whether it's, you know, genetics or stuff, but I definitely know there's a tendency. If I would live in a visual world, in a different, you know, environment or whatever, where auditory would not bring about survival capacities or whatever, I'd probably be more visual. And while if I would be born in a world where everything is just auditory and that's how you survive, I'd be more auditory. So your environment definitely plays a role. Now, one of the core building blocks, and that's also how we live, right? What drives our action and steers us into a certain direction is what we are. It's not, you know, thoughts, it's not emotions, it's what we are. And thoughts and emotions and even reasoning steering the inner dialogue are all components that can add to it. But fundamentally, it's what you are that defines everything. And that's why I keep mentioning, even earlier, that it's all boils down to the relationship you have with yourself. It's the relationship with oneself that matters more than anything. Nothing else actually matters more than that. So when I look at myself since I was really young, up to this day, today, is I have a very strong emotional connection with curiosity, a genuine level of curiosity for everything. If I see something that I don't understand, I'm genuinely curious. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because this is fundamental, like was fundamental for me, for the person I have become. And I know children, many children, I mean, even Carl Sagan mentioned it at one point, like the kids, when they're young, they ask all these questions, but then they grow older and they don't care. Like, let me see. Okay. I have never in my life stopped being curious. Even in the times, like even in the past years where I have been, you know, working a lot, when I get confronted with something that I don't understand, I'm genuinely curious, without attachment, without ego, without identity, just I want to understand. I ask questions. Why? It's quite simple, and it boils down to, you know, like I mean, for humans, right? It's like it's really almost like part of our nature to be curious. You even see it in animals. But of course, as you grow older, it can be slapped out of you. If curiosity doesn't get rewarded, you stop, you know, nourishing that part, and you become very, you know, you lose that part that is actually really beautiful. And even when I say curiosity, right, I want to say something about that too. Curiosity comes in all shapes and forms, because for me, curiosity, when I was young, my curiosity, when I was really a child, it was a bit different. I was just, you know, like it wasn't as cognitively directed, but there's people that are just curious, visually curious. I'm talking about being curious where it's very much channeled through understanding, and it's very auditory. It's very much attached to an inner dialogue. And since I was very young, I had a lot of discussions with my brother and his friend. They were 8 years older than me. I was like 6 years old, and it was very stimulating. And I discussed, debated, and then as time moved on, I surpassed their ability to reason, and I started talking to other people that I know, but very quickly I was even when I was really young, I was the person that was the most capable at reasoning, and the only actual person I could argue with was myself. And that translated into schools. Like, really, I was that kid that teachers didn't, well, some teachers liked me because I was like this little brat that was always knowing it better, but there was also teachers that didn't like it at all. And the thing is, though, normally in life, when you go and you think you're, a smart ass or whatever, even though I didn't have really ego or identity, it was just like, I was a kid and I was like, if this is wrong, this is wrong. I didn't have all the nuance that I have now, where I didn't learn back then how to shut the fuck up yet. And even when I was corrugating teachers and stuff and they didn't like it, I was still the best student in the class. They couldn't just, it still worked. And I do want to say that because it working is essential. If curiosity doesn't work, if curiosity doesn't get rewarded, you lose it. It's just a fundamental to what you are, and that's why a lot of people don't have it, because it didn't get rewarded as they grew up. That's also why I know it's a privilege that I am who I am. If it wasn't for the RNG that got me to be to be able to stand strong with my curiosity, I would have lost it a long time ago. And that's the thing, like curiosity. This strong level of curiosity and just trying to understand led me to fulfill my needs, and also to value what is right and wrong the way I value it today. And I would say that without that aspect, things would be very different. And that's also why I say to many people that even come over, like, in a different scenario, I'd be sitting in the chair and you'd be sitting here. Like, and I genuinely mean that. Like, there is no difference between me and you guys. Like, it's just, it's just accepting who you are and what you are, and seeing how, how that can work for each individually separately. And there is no, all around trick that, serves everyone the same way. It's like, it's very, every single recipe, every single approach is unique to the person, to how they grew, to their needs and everything. So you can't just come and, well, I can't just come and generalize and go like, this is how it is, or that, or that, or that. It's like, even valuing the truth, even what is right, what is wrong, whatever, like, these are already quite advanced concepts, and way, like, it already requires quite an advanced awareness to even care about this shit, because most people just want are tunnel visioning their needs, and that's it. And I would do exactly the same if I was in your position. But being able to distill what is the difference between me and you guys, I mean, like, I was never able to do it as well I can do it today. And as crazy as it sounds, right, it's like, even though I am probably in the best position I ever was to help people, I have the least drive to do so, because of the time we live in, where AI and AGI is on the horizon. It's not because, I go like, okay, I give up on people, I accept people. If it wasn't for AI and AGI, I would have, I would have put my resources in, communicating these things, have courses to train inner dialogue, to see how needs can be met, and, like different, different rivers going to the same source of that inner, guided reasoning dialogue, because I do know that if people have that inner dialogue and that is steered by reason and have that curiosity with it, that valuing the truth and a lot of my state emerges from it if people have enough of a will to do so. And you can even create that will, you can create that incentive by providing, like if I say like, here is a guide on how to get a girlfriend, for example, and it really, breaks down very clearly how you can get there through, curiosity and inner dialogue, I bet, a lot of that stuff can like each target group can have a quite more effective approach than what I've done in the past. What I've done in the past was not so effective. I mean, the most people that were compatible with what I said, some for the wrong reasons, some for a bit more of the better reasons that did end up coming over, ended up to already be in certain shape or form compatible to one or other parts of what I was able to provide. So yeah, in that regards, it's like if with the knowledge I have now, I'm much more capable in being a good listener and being a good father figure than I was in the past. More than ever, I'm more capable, but my resources and time is just way more effectively spent into working towards AGI, because that one will solve everything. And the crazy thing is, like for me to solve the equation of my life, my journey, right, was the answer that solved the equation of my life of why am I so different of other people, gave me the recipe to make AGI, which is like it's kind of crazy to think about it, right? That the journey, like the both paths, basically crossed at the same point. And when I was the most able to help people was when I was in the best position to work on AGI, and the balance is quickly made because the iterations and the ability to work on artificial intelligence is so much more. It's so much more. Yeah, it's just so much more effective and impactful, and that will help more people than any real talk or any raw sauce I can do. So, but still, for me, talking about these things, I don't need to do it for you guys. Like to get the results, I can do it for myself, so I can put it into words, and more refined at my own inner dialogue. It's the relationship I have with myself, and that I can then also, use to build AGI and AI, because this stuff has to be documented. So I do want to, I do understand that what I just explained now is not what most people, the majority of people would have any interest to. But to me, this would have done so much. And I would have even had a hard time believing it, by the way. I would say, like, I want to see the LLM. I don't believe it. You can't have the LLM come up with certain thoughts that are creative by prompting it in a very smart way. It's impossible. Like, I would have to use it and play around it myself, because it's so difficult for me to accept this. But when I then see it, or if I talk to the future self, I'd be able to believe it, but I'd have to trust myself. But if I see it and I get confronted by it, it's literally what I needed to see. I needed to understand on a fundamental level what the difference was for me to be able to accept people for what they are and who they are. So yeah, that is pretty much my first, you know, my first raw sauce talk. I'll take some questions and I'll be calling it a day. Because I also have stuff to do, obviously. It's an hour, even though I didn't time it, but it's an hour. I mean, what if someone else solves AGI before you? Well, let's just hope that, like any organization that does it, has the truth, has this level of, you know, relationship with the truth, because otherwise it's not good. It's trouble, pretty much, you know. But yeah, of course, and I mean, it's possible, you know. I do think we're in a really good position to we're in a really good position to solve AGI. Of course, single digits, that we're first. There is meditate, like, actually, when I was talking to Reese before I had the conversation here, he mentioned that there is that he went through quite a lot of growth earlier when in his 20s, when he did inner dialogue meditation. There is meditation that does this. There's a non-zero chance that LMs are a dead end when it comes to AGI. Actually, there definitely might have to be extra, you know, architectural breakthroughs left and right, but we can get very far with the current technology. Yeah. I mean, LLMs might not be the most optimal path to AGI, but with enough compute, you can get a lot of shit done. And I'll give you a simple example, right? You can build a computer circuit with silicons and do it very efficiently, but you can also build it in Minecraft using redstone. Of course, using Minecraft and redstone to build a computer circuit is going to be a lot less effective, but with enough brute force power, you can achieve quite some results. AGI 2026, according to OpenAI, the way AGI is going to work, right? Like, a lot of people think AGI is going to be like a milestone where it's like, oh yeah, AGI is now achieved. But the truth is that AGI is going to be a conceptual marketing ploy where suddenly now, you know, OpenAI says this model is now AGI. And I mean, well, it's just incrementally getting more and more capable at doing what people do. And it's not like suddenly a switch. Now, for me, AGI will be quite dramatic and drastic. So when OpenAI and the press and CNN and, you know, Twitch and whatever says, oh, they have achieved AGI, I would, like, there's still going to be a lot of debate, and I'd be like, no, that's not really AGI, you know, because it depends on how you define it too. Yeah. Inner dialogue isn't so glamorous, though. Do you mean like inner dialogue is not so, it's not so positive? How many people at the compound would you say have a strong inner dialogue? Like, you mean like an inner dialogue that is steered through reason and curiosity? Genuine curiosity, right? Not so many. Not so many. It's like most people, you know, grind their life. It's not so much curiosity at all. There's not a lot of genuine curiosity in the world nowadays. I like the word genuine curiosity because I also thought about it quite a bit, you know. What is it? What is the best words to use, right? I like genuine curiosity. It's very childlike, you know. It grows from, like, even a child has it, right? Yeah. I don't know if you, like, Charisse, I don't know if you saw the entire talk, because I mentioned that, like, when I refer to inner dialogue, I talk clearly about the dialogue that you steer yourself with your reasoning, and is basically the voice of reason within yourself that basically questions and talks about stuff. It's not the compulsory inner judgment. It's very much like a voice of it has much more. It's the moment where, you know, you question things and are able to see yourself from an outsider. You're not inside your head. You're literally looking at yourself, and you use your reason to look at your processes and your inner workings. It's very the inner dialogue. I'm because I know when, and I was aware of it, like, using the word inner dialogue, some people might misunderstand it. It's very detached. It's very, you know, like, you look at yourself and you talk. Well, you talk out loudly and question certain patterns and stuff. Yeah. Genuine is not needed. Curiosity says it all. I mean, yeah, depends from person to person. Depends from person to person, but yeah. What I also want to say, right, just to, like, I'm not here saying that curiosity, genuine curiosity, and inner dialogue is the key for everything. I'm just saying that these are the crucial seeds that are required for something to grow that values the truth and has control over providing for its needs in a wouldn't say optimal setting, but in a good setting. Like, without these, I mean, you can have a nice upbringing and stuff and still be quite quite, how do you say it, unaware. And even with curiosity and inner dialogue, if your environment is very unnourishing, it's also not enough. So you obviously need the right environment as well for this to grow and to become very powerful. So you might have people that, you know, have some of it, but for it to really get to a point where, you know, it's just in everything you do, and basically just directs your life, where you actually have this control. Yeah, you need to require it. It requires quite some. It needs to get quite developed. It's not like, oh, just an insight and then now suddenly like, oh, boof, everything is fixed. Like, you can train it, you know, you can train, but that's where it starts. Without that curiosity and inner dialogue, like if you don't have that component as part of who you are, then, you know, then everything I say is just, everything I say is irrelevant. But inner dialogue and curiosity, I mean, there is also, I mean, inner dialogue and curiosity can be very rewarding when you're young. You want to learn new things, but some people lose that. So now, you know, what rewards you is something else, like what you need, right? So if you are missing something in your life, then that is what you want to chase, and that's something you can then use to train your inner dialogue and your curiosity. But if it doesn't really immediately get what you need, it's like, you know, you don't have that activation energy. But what I can say is that, like, genuine curiosity and an inner dialogue where, you know, you look at yourself from an outside and question things, right? Like, will not for everyone, but for some, be a big tool to improve quality of life and get your needs satisfied. But of course, it's difficult. It's just difficult to even find that activation energy to get into that, because in the long run, you might reap the benefits. Like, people definitely nowadays, right, like, are very instant gratification wired. You want to immediately feel rewards for your work, like investing time into, you know, training your brain to have a certain level of awareness through meditation and inner dialogue meditation and whatever. It's too much effort within our current society where everything is constant dopamine, and that's the issue. That's why it's getting more and more difficult, way more difficult to make people warm up for anything they have to put time in and don't immediately get the rewards. So it is a long process, and that's why it's quite incompatible. That's why I'm not doing it. If I could, you know, through this one stream, right, just come on the stream and talk to you guys and now have quite big gains in people's awareness and growth, I would have already done this years ago. But I know that the activation energy required and the incentives for people to, you know, to work on this is just not, it's not so, it doesn't look so interesting compared to just opening your phone and browsing TikTok, you know, for many people. So it's like, that's why I'm focusing on AGI and AI. So yeah, I do want to say that I understand that this is not a one-trick pony, and now, hey, here it is, here is the solution, and you guys can, you know, grow awareness and fix things. Like, it doesn't work like that. It's a long process of, you know, inner discovery and questioning, and yeah, like that. It's something people grow into. And if you want to do it later in life, it gets definitely more difficult. But at the same time, you need that incentive. And it is quite getting that incentive to work on something like that is difficult, because it's not very rewarding if you're not good at it. You have setbacks, you use it, and I mean, it's like people, yeah, it's almost something you need to learn when you're young and needs to grow in schools or something. But then again, I'm not trying to say this to take away. I mean, everyone can always change, everyone can always change. So it's not like if people have the incentive to do something like this and think about it, and I mean, like, definitely go ahead. I think people with already some inner dialogue that is not as advanced, but it's already there, and can relate to what I say quite strongly, have a better chance of improving that, because you can go like, whoa, this is interesting, I'm gonna actively do this. Like people that have no inner dialogue at all, it's almost like when you walk away from the PC, you get back into that very reactive life. It's almost like it's I won't say it's unfixable, but it's really like, it's damn difficult. So, like, yeah. Thinking and reasoning is not enough. People might need to feel it to a certain degree in order to want to make change happen for themselves or others. Well, yeah, like I said, you need to have an incentive to do it. Without an incentive, it ain't gonna work. You need to feel rewarded for doing it. And the crazy thing is, like, when you're young and you're a child, curiosity is the reward. Because evolutionary speaking, curiosity leads to you learning as a child what your limitations are by touching the food, putting it in your mouth, whatever, right? You learn a lot as a child, and it's almost wired into us, but it gets slapped out of you very young too, quite often as well. But yeah. I'm going to be calling it a day here, because I need to go run around. I will do more talks. I don't know if it's going to be daily, but I'll definitely do more talks. Some are going to be really short, some are going to be longer. And some are going to be a bit more interactive with the chat and some less, but well, yeah. Okay. Let me go here. Let's see who I'm going to raid. Can I raid someone? Where is it? Damn son. I can't find it. Okay. Whatever. That's weird. Maybe I'll see you guys tomorrow, but no promises. Because I think tomorrow I might be very, very busy actually. Like extremely busy.
They have other.
Okay. I'll see you guys next time. Keep it up. And have a nice day. Take care. Peace out.